We seem to be getting almost the same old Galaxy S Ultra year after year. Though Samsung is unlikely to reveal the details of its most costly non-folding phone until at least January 2025, the fundamentals have remained mostly unchanged since 2021. Samsung's S25 Ultra has the potential to alter this trend radically. We already have some fascinating leaks and rumors to go over. Let us not waste any more time. Let's get started right now. First and foremost is design. During the past 3 years, Samsung has gradually leaned even further into the highly sharp angular design language that defined the Galaxy Note series, and we saw this trend continue into this year's Fold 6. Reliable social media leakers, such as Ice Universe, predict that the chassis will be as rounded as the previous Galaxy Note 7, implying that this may change by 2025. The Galaxy S25 series is likely to use 3nm processors. Depending on the country, certain versions might utilize the Exynos 2500, while others could use the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 4, which will be released in October 2024, might enable the Galaxy S25 Ultra to outperform the iPhone 16 Pro Max. The Galaxy S25 Ultra is believed to employ the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 processor globally, while the Galaxy S25 and Galaxy S25 Plus may use the Exynos 2500 or Snapdragon 8 Gen 4, depending on the region. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 was discovered in the Geekbench database for the first time, and it seems that it might enable the Galaxy S25 Ultra to outperform the iPhone 16 Pro Max in terms of performance. As seen in the figure above, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4, used in Qualcomm Reference Design, achieved 2,884 points in the single-core test and 8,840 points in the multi-core test in the Geekbench 6 benchmark when coupled with 12 gigs of RAM. That is comparable to the performance levels of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which scores roughly 2,900 points in the single-core test and 7,237 points in the multi-core test. These results are 35% better than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in the single-core test and 30% better in the multi-core test. Typically, reference devices run unfinished software when new chipsets undergo testing before disclosure, leading to inferior performance. So by the time the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 appears in a consumer-ready smartphone with more than 12 gigs of RAM, its CPU performance could improve significantly. According to rumors, the iPhone 16 Pro series will have a processor that does not significantly boost CPU performance over its predecessor. So the Galaxy S25 Ultra with Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 has a decent possibility of equaling or even outperforming the iPhone 16 Pro Max in terms of CPU performance. In terms of graphics processing capability, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 outperforms the iPhone 15 Pro Max's 6-core GPU. As a result, the Adreno 830 GPU within the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 will most certainly continue to dominate and outperform Apple's future CPU in terms of graphics performance. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 will allegedly have 2 high-performance Orion CPU cores rated at 4.09 GHz or higher, as well as 6 power-efficient CPU cores clocked at 2.78 GHz. It includes an Adreno 830 GPU with all of the latest gaming capabilities. According to reports, the chipset is built on TSMC 3nm manufacturing node. With that in mind, it's unclear whether the curved edge display will return. And I, for one, hope it won't because it makes finding and fitting a decent screen protector both expensive and inconvenient. But even if it's just the middle frame and 2-dimensional glass parts that are becoming softer and more rounded, I think that's an ergonomic win. Similarly, the S25 Ultra seems to have a few millimeters less thickness than its immediate predecessor. That might be aided by the use of higher-grade titanium in the S25 Ultra compared to the S24. However, details on that specific area of design are hazy. In any case, although the S24 Ultra's massive monolith-like design is remarkable, its sharp edges and bulky proportions are not well suited to the human palm. While we celebrate a possible ergonomic success, the S25 Ultra screen size may be cause for worry. This is due to the rumored increase in display diagonal size to 6.9 inches. However, the 6.9-inch number might be largely influenced by how curved the screen is and how much Samsung has been able to reduce screen bezels. So you may not need to be concerned that the S25 Ultra would be considerably bigger in terms of total footprint. That 6.9-inch dimension, by the way, corresponds to what we anticipate to see from Apple's iPhone 16 Pro Max, since it seems that both manufacturers are encouraging each other to go even larger for the next series of flagship devices. That new Samsung display should improve on the S24 Ultra's already industry-leading screen, which has a fantastic Gorilla Armor panel for incredible reflection cancellation capabilities. According to one source, the panel's peak brightness may approach 3000 nits, which is just icing on top of an already ridiculously excellent display. Samsung's Ultra camera experience has long been a selling feature for these phones, but in terms of photography performance, we've only seen small improvements from generation to generation. So it's encouraging to see that Samsung may be addressing some of these issues with its next-generation cameras. According to Chinese Twitter leaker Ice Universe, who has a pretty excellent track record with these kinds of things, Samsung will update both its ultra-wide and 3x telephoto cameras in the upcoming S25 Ultra, specifically to a 50-megapixel resolution, which should make both more consistent across a wider range of focal lengths. That intermediate 3x shooter in particular is a very old element that is long overdue for an overhaul. More recently, the launch of a new 200-megapixel Samsung image sensor, the ISOCELL HP9, has stoked suspicion that it may be used in the S25 Ultra. On paper, this sensor is smaller than the ISOCELL HP2SX in the S24 Ultra, measuring 1 to 1.4 inches versus 1 to 1.3 inches. However, the new model incorporates various enhancements aimed at lowering noise and improving light capture. So there are some beneficial advancements elsewhere in the camera system. But if you want anything like one of the insane 1-inch primary sensors we've seen on some Chinese flagships, you'll have to wait at least a year. The next major reason to get excited about the Galaxy S25 Ultra might be its chipset, with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 looking like a watershed moment for Qualcomm. It's worth noting that all of the rumors we've heard so far point to an Exynos 2500 CPU remaining around for the ordinary S25 and S25 Plus in select places, but Samsung will once again depend on Qualcomm for the highest performing chip in its portfolio globally. So, what will make the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 so special? All evidence points to it being the first smartphone SoC to use Qualcomm's ultra-high-performance Orion CPU cores. This is the computationally hidden source of Qualcomm's Snapdragon X Elite PC processors' speed and efficiency. These cores, which will be at the heart of the next-generation Galaxy flagship, have the potential to provide a significant increase in both power and efficiency, particularly for gaming and DeX desktop mode. And if certain reports are to be believed, Qualcomm might finally put the pressure on Apple in this area, perhaps testing the GPU performance of some of its mid-range M-series CPUs. The other side of the equation is battery life and charging rates, and this is one area where Samsung has been at a little disadvantage when compared to its competitors. This is because, unlike other companies, the S Pen must fit within the phone's body. Everyone else has valuable internal room to dedicate to a larger battery or a more powerful cooling system. That's why Samsung has been quite careful regarding battery capacity in recent years. We've been at 5,000 mAh since the S21 Ultra, 3 years ago, and although some previous leaks predicted an increase to 5,500 milliamps, the most current tip from Ice Universe indicates that Samsung has made no changes to the S25 Ultra's battery size or charging speed. One of the more intriguing rumors has been about Qi2 charging support, possibly in the S25 series, which is essentially MagSafe. For over a year, Apple has been working with the Wireless Power Consortium to make this an open standard. However, determining the source of this information is difficult, and I am suspicious. Don't get me wrong, it would be amazing to see changes in a major Android flagship like the S25 Ultra, but we know from experience with MagSafe accessories on previous S Ultras that this is tough to implement without affecting S Pen functionality, so we'll have to wait and see. Finally, I believe we have the least substantial information on the Galaxy S25 Ultra software. At the time of recording, the One UI 7 beta program is expected to start in the coming weeks, and we'll have complete hands-on coverage of all of the major improvements. So if you're viewing from the future and the video has already been created, go have a look. Otherwise, the little signs here indicate some modest icon and cosmetic changes in the next edition of Samsung's interface, which should be built on Android 15. I'm not sure how pleased I am about slightly altered squircle-looking icons, but I'm sure they'll be part of larger cosmetic improvements that will be seen once the S24 series receives its first One UI upgrade. Galaxy AI is undoubtedly something you can expect to see more of in the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Samsung unveiled a second wave of AI features for its current phones during its Galaxy Fold and Flip launch event this summer, including new capabilities such as AI picture production and the expansion of existing functions such as AI call translation to additional third-party applications. It will also be intriguing to see how much, if any, of Google's Gemini AI gets integrated into the next generation of Samsung flagships. Right now, it's unclear if Google intends to make Gemini a full-fledged replacement for the old Google Assistant throughout the whole ecosystem, or whether it will remain a Pixel-exclusive feature. The most probable consequence, I believe, is a brief period of Pixel exclusivity for certain Gemini features before they are made available to other flagships, like the Galaxy line. However, the specific dates are still unknown, and it's worth noting that Samsung still has its own AI assistant in Bixby. So it will be an intriguing launch to watch, and it might be more than simply another year of Samsung doing the same thing. A fresh design may offer some unexpected, far-reaching modifications that will make the next Ultra simpler to use without hurting your hands. Qualcomm has released a major new CPU update that brings laptop-level power. Although the main sensor may not get a significant hardware improvement this time around, the S25 Ultra should provide a much-needed boost to the 3X and ultra-wide for a more balanced shooting experience. And although much of the software experience remains to be seen, it's reasonable to assume that more AI will be on the way, particularly once Apple Intelligence and Google AI arrive later in 2024. So that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting updates on the latest technology. Thanks for watching.